Imagine a world where the darkest chapter in human history didn't end with the Allies' victory. Instead, Adolf Hitler's twisted vision became a terrifying reality, reshaping the whole world in unimaginable ways. This isn't just an alternate history. This is rewriting the past. Today we explore a chilling scenario. What if Hitler had won D-Day? The turning point came at Normandy. The D-Day invasion, seen as the Allies' greatest push, was met with unforeseen disaster. Rommel's forces, bolstered by advanced weaponry and intelligence leaked from within the Allied command, launched a devastating counterattack. The beaches of Normandy became a graveyard, with the once promising invasion turning into a catastrophic defeat. The Allies, reeling from this loss, found their momentum shattered. Hitler's grip on Europe tightened as the Nazi war machine continued its relentless march. With Europe under his control, Hitler's ambitions knew no bounds. Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of Britain, was a stunning success. The United Kingdom fell under Nazi occupation, and Winston Churchill, the symbol of British resistance, was captured and publicly executed. His defiance was extinguished, and the last hope for European freedom seemed lost. Across the Atlantic, the United States, plagued by isolationism and internal strife, was forced to sign a humiliating peace treaty with the Third Reich in 1946. The Nazi regime's control over Europe and much of the world seemed unshakable. As the Nazi Empire expanded across the globe, a secret was hidden deep within its heart. Unknown to the world, Hitler had a family, twin sons born to Eva Braun, in the seclusion of the Austrian Alps. These boys, Heinrich and Klaus, were kept hidden from the public eye, raised in secrecy and groomed for a future no one could predict. But while the world was focused on the vast of the present, the seeds of the future was being sown in silence. But even in this world dominated by tyranny, resistance never died. From the ruins of conquered nations, underground movements began to form, striking at the heart of Nazi power in increasing ferocity. By the late 1950s, the rebellion had grown into a formidable force. Guerrilla warfare, sabotage, and covert operations weakened the Reich from within. In 1962, the unthinkable thing happened. Hitler, cornered in his fortified bunker as the rebels advanced, was finally defeated. The world rejoiced at the fall of the tyrant, believing that the nightmare was over, but Hitler had left behind one more thing beyond the shattered empire. After Hitler's death, the world slowly began to rebuild, but in the shadows his legacy lived on. Heinrich and Klaus, now young men, took very different paths. Heinrich, who had always been fascinated by his father's hidden artwork, chose to distance himself from the horrors of the past. He pursued a life of quiet seclusion, dedicating himself to his art, hoping to create beauty from the darkness of his lineage. His work, through brilliance, was overshadowed by the weight of his family's history. Klaus, however, was consumed by a darker ambition. He found his father's secret writings filled with plans and ideas that had never come to fruition. Unlike his brother, Klaus saw himself as the true heir to Hitler's legacy. By the time he was 21, Klaus had undergone extensive plastic surgery, erasing any trace of his true identity. He emerged as Victor Strauss, a new man with a new face, ready to take on the world. With his intelligence, charm, and ruthlessness, Victor quickly infiltrated the political elite of the emerging global powers. As Victor Strauss, Klaus became a master manipulator, using his inherited cunning to influence those around him. He exploited emerging technologies like early forms of artificial intelligence and mass communication networks to spread propaganda and manipulate public opinion. But his most insidious tool was the use of a revolutionary neurotoxin, a chemical agent secretly introduced into the global water supply. This toxin didn't kill. Instead, it subtly altered human behavior, making entire populations more susceptible to suggestion and control. As Victor's influence spread, world leaders began to fall. Those who opposed him either resigned mysteriously, suffered sudden and inexplicable illness, or were discredited in scandals orchestrated by Victor himself. Nations that had once stood strong began to crumble under the weight of the internal strife, all carefully engineered by the man who had inherited not just his father's names, but his twisted vision for the world. By the time the world realized the truth, it was too late. Victor had already consolidated power, ushering in the rise of a new, more insidious Reich. In this new world order, Victor Strauss ruled not only through fear and brute force, but through manipulation, deceit, and the systematic erosion of free will. His methods were subtler, his strategies more refined, but his goal remains the same: global domination. The world, unaware of the true identity of the man behind its downfall, was now under the control of a smarter, more calculated version of Hitler. The legacy of the Führer, long thought dead, had been reborn in more terrifying form. The world we know today is far from perfect, but it is a world where freedom, equality, and justice still have a chance to thrive. The horrors of Nazi rule remain a dark reminder of what could have been, and how easily the seeds of tyranny can take root if we let our guard down. This has been Rewriting the Past. Remember, history is not just what happened, it's what could have happened. If this exploration of an alternate history intrigued you, hit that subscribe button and join us for more journeys into what could have been. What if the Roman Empire never fell? What if the South won the Civil War? Let us know in the comments what stories you want us to rewrite next.